Hello, this is Pastor Manning bringing you the Beacon of Hope podcast. Quick thought I want to give you on this thought of something not to forget. In Isaiah chapter 14, we find these verses beginning in verse 12. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will set also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." And here we have the boasting and pride of Lucifer. By the way, if you're looking at a book that calls itself a Bible, it doesn't have the word Lucifer there, but instead has bright and morning star. You might check that in Revelation, the name bright and morning star is given to Jesus, and you might wonder why they're given both there. And then also you might check in Acts 8, verse 37, because if yours says bright morning star, probably Acts 8:37 will be missing from the text. And you might check Colossians 1:14 and see if the blood of Christ is missing. There's a whole host of other things, but you might want to check that and try to figure out why those things are different. But here, Lucifer, the devil, makes his boast. He says several things. He says he's going to ascend into heaven. He says he will exalt his throne above the stars of God. He said he will set upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. He said he will ascend above the heights of the clouds. He said he will be like the Most High. Well, he forgot some things. The devil's pride led him to forget he was limited. Limited in knowledge, limited in power, limited in intellect, and limited in influence. His perverted perception of his own power led him to proclaim that he could be all that God is. This account in Isaiah deals with Nebuchadnezzar and also deals with the devil. There's more than one situation in the Bible where that happens, where a world ruler or a leader shows you by his life some things about the devil. But he forgot some things. He forgot he was limited. Because he forgot he was limited, he was lifted up with pride and thought that he could do anything. It does us well to remember that we're limited. If we're limited, remember that we're limited in our knowledge, it'll help us to increase in charity. Because when we realize we're limited in our knowledge, we realize that we do not have all the facts about anything. And that builds charity into us. Why? Because it allows us to realize that we could be wrong in our perception, that we may not have all the facts in front of us, that we should be patient and wait instead of jumping to conclusions. When we realize that we are limited in power, we would also realize that we thusly are limited in what is actually our concern. That'll keep us from being busybodies. The Bible directly commands we're not to be busybodies in other people's matters. In other words, we're not supposed to be sticking our nose where it doesn't belong. We're not supposed to be getting involved in the details of people's lives that aren't our concern. I'll tell you, in our electronic age and our social networking age, boy, is there ever a message that's needed, and boy, is there ever a sin that is commonly committed by Christian people as they become busybodies through the agency of social medias and this sort of thing. We're not supposed to. And if we realize we're limited in our knowledge, we're limited in our power, there's only so much we can do. If we realize we are limited in our finances, we'll be a lot more wise with our stewardship, knowing that we only have so much that we can work with. If we realize that we are limited in our days, that'll keep us from so easily wasting so much time. I wonder how many thousands of hours get wasted in people's lives just scrolling and looking at things that mean nothing. Time that could have been used doing something good for a family member. Time that could have been used improving their health. Time that could have been used improving their mind. Time that could have been improved serving their local church. I wonder how many collective hours a congregation wastes just scrolling through things while their church house is in need of repair, cleaning, upgrading, and that sort of thing. We're limited. We need to remember it. When we do remember it, it tends to keep us in proper perspective. We need to remember that we're limited in days we get to spend with those we are loving, to treasure those days. I wrote this little statement down. Devious, devilish pride destroys relationships, deranges the mind, demoralizes companions, debases our accomplishments, devalues others, derails potential, and demeans those around us. The devil forgot he was limited, and pretty soon got so exalted in his own mind that it led him to a point of actually opposing God. We need to realize we're limited, and we have to thank God for that, and use what we can and do right with what we have instead of reaching beyond what our true limitations are. Some food for thought. I hope you'll take it and be profited by it. Have a great day.